A lot of people will be like, how do I even start crocheting? How do I even start a crochet business where I don't even have a website? I don't even have a social media page. I don't even have a clue. I don't even have money. So in this video, I want to show you guys how I started my business with literally no money, like with zero money. So now that you've learned how to crochet, you know all the tactics, even the marketing bit of it, you know all how to do all these things. But the problem now is, how do I even start? I don't even have money. I don't even have a website. I don't even have a page where I'm not even a shop where I can display my crochet items. I'm going to tell you today in my story, in my own story and experience of how I started my crochet business with absolutely no money, with like zero money. So if you're interested in starting your own crochet business and you discouraged about the finances on how to start with it, stick around because this video is just for you. So hi everyone, my name is Diana, the face behind Face Fearless Stitches and the brain behind it all. I started my business literally with zero money. Because of the love that I have with the crochet and the determination to turn this into a profitable business, I had to start with absolutely nothing. So when I started this business, I didn't have a clue on how I was going to start it, how I was going to set it up. But all I knew was I was determined and I was creative enough to put this out there. So let's just dive into all these tactics and tricks that I made to. The main secret here is just do what you do with what you have. A lot of people would go break the bank to start any kind of business, but with crochet it's different. As long as you know what you're doing. First of all, let me just tell you personally, I didn't know what I was doing, but all I had was this creativity in my mind, and I was very determined to start this business right away. I had no money, remember that, but all I had was just a few hooks that were lying around my house, a few yarns that and halfway done projects that were around my house. I collected all this together, all the stash, all the useless yarns that I thought were actually useless, and I started crocheting. My first item was actually a scrunchie. I made a scrunchie and I used to go with it to church. I used to like have it. I thought that would be the best way for me to market my products, to wear them and show people that I can make them, and they can have it too, or they can even make them themselves. So I had this beautiful scrunchie. It was lime green. I remember it clearly. It was lime green that I made, and because of that, people got interested in it. Others wanted to learn how to do it by themselves, and because I was doing this with the determination that I wanted to make it as a business, I told them that actually I made it, and I was planning to turn the whole crochet activities into a profitable business. And a lot of people came and started, ordering for this crunchy. So my advice to you is, you don't need all these fancy hooks, all these fancy yarns that are lying around the shops, the marketplaces. All you need is whatever you have. Start with whatever you have, because the most important thing right now is already have the skills on how to make this item. So next up is branding and marketing. At that time I had no clue on how to make like very beautiful pictures, make like very beautiful branding materials. Even marketing itself was a problem, but I used whatever I had. For example, I used Canva. I downloaded Canva in my phone, not even the paid version of it. I used Canva. I designed a very simple logo for myself, because in the first place my main idea was to make this a brand, like a real brand, not just to make things and throw it out there. So I designed a very simple logo for myself, for my business, and yeah, I started with that. And I didn't have even a website or a fancy social media platforms. All I had was just my personal social media platforms. By then TikTok was not so familiar with everyone, so I had Instagram and Facebook. But the best thing I used was Facebook, because my immediate friends, my people who are around me, most of them were on Facebook at that time. So I didn't have even very good packaging materials. I used to get these um caveras and like polythene bags, and I packed with the things that I had. So I didn't have like very fancy packaging materials, the boxes, the tissues that people use these days. I didn't have all that. All I had was very simple, very cheap materials, and that's where I started. But if I'm to compare with where I was and where I am and the packaging materials that I use right now, I think I've really evolved. And even the way I market my materials right now are a bit different. Now, my advice to you is, if you're going to use social media to market your products, the best thing you can do is to use very neat, clean photos to advertise your materials. At first, I would just take photos from wherever I want, and as long as there's a picture to post somewhere, which is very bad because people buy what they see. If something is really good, if the picture is really attractive enough for them to see that something is appealing to them, that's when they buy. People buy neat, clean outputs. So if you take your photos just because you want to put something out there, it will not work. Try to use the natural lights when you have it to take these photos. Try to use clean. These days we have very many um, softwares and apps that you can use for making your materials appear very neat and very clean. Like, who wants to buy something very shabby? So try your level best to make sure that whatever pictures you take to post on your social media platforms, make sure that it is neat and clean. And one thing that I thank myself for at this point is I didn't immediately use my personal pages. When I was posting on my personal pages on the social media platforms, I had also the business platforms, business pages. Like, if you go to WhatsApp, on Facebook right now, you get my personal pages, and of course an independent fearless teachers page on Facebook. I don't mix the two. But for Instagram, I don't have a personal account. I'm not so into Instagram for personal use. So I have strictly for business. TikTok is strictly for business. And WhatsApp, of course, personal and business. So make sure you draw a line between your personal interests, personal outputs, and your business output in order to manage this effectively. Now, another thing is reinvesting whatever sales you make back into the business. I have this principle whereby I put at least 70%, at most 70% of what I sell back into the business. I'm not one kind of person who, when I make sales, I dash into shopping, I dash into buying things for my personal self. And no, I pay myself. I'll come back to that later on. So, in most cases, I take 70% and reinvest it back into the business. And because of that, even the old materials that I used to have are no longer there because I put all the money that I use for selling these materials back into the business. Now I have at least better packaging materials. At least I can even afford to buy both, or in vending or marketing areas. I'm capable of doing that because I have the money saved away for the business. And another thing is, the money that I use for the business, I normally separate it from my personal business. However much I want to buy something for myself, I don't use the money for the business. The secret is always endeavor to add, whenever you buy, for example, when you're selling a hat, in your calculation, make sure that you calculate a percentage of your salary in each and every item you sell. I hope that makes sense. Whenever you sell a material, make sure that a portion of that money, a portion of the price of an item has your salary in it. Learn to pay yourself. By doing this, you're not tempted to use the money for the business or even go extra mile, like to to over invest in the business, because life has to go on. You cannot like live without money, you know. You also need to work. You're doing the business so that it sustain you. So you cannot entirely tell me that you will invest the whole money back into the business. That really doesn't make sense. So my advice to you is always pay yourself, always reinvest some money back into the business, so that you don't go around looking for loans, so that you don't go around looking for things that will not even benefit you or the business in the first place. So yeah, please reinvest into the business. Put separate accounts. Make sure that your personal personal money or personal income is separate from the business account, so that it's easier for you to manage both of them like separately. Another issue is another plan or another skill or another tip is that try your level best to be consistent. This is something that I have always struggled to do, and I'm still struggling to do. Not because I don't have the time, but of course, you procrastinate. At times, you're so fixated in the habit of, I'll do it in the next hour, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it next month. You'll find that time is going. And believe me or not, customers trust people who are consistent. Customers trust people who are able to sustain a business, who are always present. You cannot tell me that right now you can buy an item of someone online who has posted like over 2 years ago. How do you know this person is still in business? So your presence in this the platform, whether you have a website, whether you're using social media to market your brands, your brand, make sure you're always consistent. Make sure you show up for yourself. We always don't feel motivated to show up, but motivation will never come. You know, all you need to do is you have to discipline yourself. You have to schedule yourself. My the main thing that always motivates me into being consistent is I make batch of contents, so that when the time comes for me to post, of course I have some period whereby I'm not posting. That is a period maybe I take my time to film, I take my time to record videos, I take my time to work on items that I want to record, things like that. So you're not always in position to post. That is fine. But the best thing that you can always do is you have to plan yourself. You have to plan your content. That's when you're on social media, when you market your things on social media. Plan yourself so that when the time comes, you're able to appear, you're able to like push yourself out there. You will never be motivated to do these things day in, day out, because we are human. And yeah, but if you're taking something seriously, like a crochet business, you're taking it serious, it's a business, it's something that sustains you, it's something that you love doing, it's something that you're very passionate about, you can never take the risk of taking it for granted. So my advice to you is get a schedule whereby you can sit down, do a batch of contents. I'm talking about those who are into marketing their products using social media. If you have a physical location, but these days things are turning into digital, so you cannot really know, you cannot really tell who is looking for what you have. You just depend on being in your shop and not try to get out there to market your product. So be consistent, show up even if you don't want to show up. Trust me, what has really helped me is the mentality that anything is content. You don't know when your video or your item is going viral. You don't know that time. So post anything you feel is worth saying. I normally base myself in educational context, like inspirational context, so that people benefit from whatever I'm posting. So show up, try your level best to show up. I know it can be really hard, especially with life these days. For myself, for example, being a mom and all that, things can be a bit chaotic here and there. But what helps me is I try my level best to schedule my contents and post whenever I can. So now that we have a few clues on how to start a business, even if you have no money in your account or no money or no physical money in your hand, there are some few things that I would do differently right now in order to start afresh and change a few things that I made a mistake on. So let's get into those things. First, I think I would handle my profits a little bit better than how I did at the beginning. So at first, I didn't know how to record my profits. I didn't know how to charge each and every item. I would just charge because I want something to go, like to sell something. Even if I made a profit out of something or not, I didn't mind. At the end of the day, I felt I was really cheated. When I got to know about this, I felt so cheated. I felt I was doing this business to please people and not like, of course, I had passion for it. I would crochet. If I get like an order, I would get so excited and not even think of how much I'm going to get from that specific item. So the bigger mistake that I made was to get too excited and not think about the profit that I was going to get in these items. Even recording it, I would never record my inventory in the first place. Whatever I make, I never write it down. And I was this kind of person who I would use my own patterns a lot. I would make like a scrunchie, for example, using my own pattern, but I forget to write the pattern down so that if someone else wants the same pattern, I would make it. Now, the second time round, if someone wants the same pattern, I'm unable to produce. So I would advise you always record each and everything you're doing. You never know, you can also turn them into content for your social media platforms. It's very good to record. Like if you know that you're very good at designing things, you can design without using a YouTube video or using someone else's pattern. Please try to make sure that you write all your patterns so that each time you make the same thing, you already know how you did in the first place. So yeah, always keep records of everything you make. Keep records of your sales, of your products, of your inventory, of your markets, even the markets you go to. Make sure that you keep all the records of the things that are sold in these markets because they will help you a lot on how to determine which market you should go to and at what season of time. So the second thing that I would do differently is need to niche down. I was one person who was excited into doing each and everything. I was too excited to make everything that could be crocheted. For example, hats, cardigans, flowers. I would crochet everything, like everything. So my advice to you is before you even start your crochet business, whether you're already settled financially or not, make sure that you niche down. Crochet can never go anywhere. You can always make all these things at your free time, but if you're going to take it seriously as a business, you cannot take the you cannot take it lightly to just make each and everything because materials are going to be put into these things. Obviously you're going to use that your time instead of making the things that will actually sell, instead of making the things that will actually mean something for your brand. For example, when you are niching down, you have to make sure that if I'm to start making this thing, of course we have trials and error whereby you try this, and when you see that you're not comfortable with it or people are not buying, you shift, you change into something that is understandable because it's not that you try something once and it will just, people will just like it in the one go. We try things here and there to see that we are able to produce what the clients want. But my advice to you is don't niche down into something simply because you think it's easy to make. Make something that you're passionate about. You have to consider two things when you're niching down. One, you have to do something that you really love doing, something that you're really passionate about. And right now I've also discovered that I'm so passionate about making bags. I got so much into making bags that I think that is my niche. I'll make a separate video for that because I want you guys to know where I am right now in my crochet business. And then secondly, you have to make things that sell. For example, in my country right now, people people are not so much into crochet wearables. So what you need to do right in my position is that I have to make things that are usable. I love making bags, and people use bags, you know. So when you are, I believe like other countries are that a total different thing. Maybe they love cardigans, maybe they love hats, depending on the weather there. But here, people are not so much into wearables. So I decided to niche down into bags because it's something that people can use and they love. So my advice is, don't do things because you feel like it. Don't crochet things because you at that moment you're caught in it. Make sure that you love making something and something that inspires you, you're so passionate about. Secondly, make things that people will actually love and buy. It doesn't make sense when you buy things and just keep it and keep stocking it there, keep wasting materials on them simply because you feel like they should be around. So yeah, try to niche down. So that is it. Don't let the heart of not having the most fancy tools, the most fancy yarn stop you from starting your crochet business. Anything can happen. You can easily blow up with just a yarn and a hook. That is just enough. So don't think that I need to have like a lot of money to start this business. This is one specific business that you can start literally with nothing, just a ball of yarn and a hook can take you places. So I would advise you that don't wait until you have all the perfect setup of your business running so that you start this crochet business. Anything can happen. There are a lot of businesses that just blew up with just one post on any social media platform. So they didn't even have anything, but because of their determination, creativity, they were able to put their brands out there. So you just have to know that your first product doesn't really need to be perfect. All you need to do is to show up and tell people what you do and show them what you do, and you improve from there. It doesn't have to be like 100% okay, but as long as you're determined and as long as you're willing to learn on how to improve all these products you're trying to put out there, you improve, and with time you also look back and you see that I have actually evolved, I have actually improved, and this is not where I was. Just like I am right now, there are so many things that I have improved. My skills, techniques, my marketing skills have also improved. Like my photo shooting, I don't use any like professional photographer, but I do all this myself. At first I wasn't perfect, but right now I can say that I can do these things actually without something very, very expensive. So if this video inspired you to go out there and start your crochet business, if this video made sense to you, don't forget to subscribe, give it a likes, because I want you guys to come along with me through this journey of my crochet business. I want you guys not to miss. I want you guys to even know all the issues, the problems, the headache that I go through with this business, because I want you to learn from it. So if you got this video really, really interesting, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos, and if you feel it's worth sharing, you can also share it too. Let's just do this thing together. Let's not be lonely in our own passion. And don't forget to tell me what's holding you back. In case you have anything specific that is holding you back from doing your crochet business, we can always discuss it together. Leave a comment down below and tell me why you cannot start your business. Because at this point, really, money is not an issue, is it? It's not. I've really explained to you what you can actually do to start your business without even breaking your bank, So, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. You take care. Continue stitching. Continue loving crochet. Continue showing up for your brand, for what you love doing. I'll see you in the next one.